FM News Talk 97.1. On demand audio.
We did not find direct evidence that Secretary Clinton's personal email domain, in its various configurations since 2009, was hacked successfully.
But she did send a lot of emails in hostile territory, according to the FBI director. Glad you're back with us. As promised, we are joined right now by Congressman John Shimkus from the 15th District in the state of Illinois. Congressman, how are you?
Mark, I'm doing great. Nice to talk to you.
Good to talk to you. Did you have a good trip today?
Yeah. It's a small jet.
Yeah.
So for a big guy like me, it gets a little uncomfortable near the end of the flight.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I wanted to get you on here for a couple of reasons. I talked to somebody from Fox News earlier about the gun issue that may be voted on this week, some sort of terrorism bill I think the speaker was discussing. But before I get to that, I wanted to get your reaction to FBI Director Comey's announcement today on Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, I was able, this is one of the few times I was able to listen to it as he was speaking. I think I was actually driving to the airport when it came on the air. And, I think he did a good job of laying out there. It seems like an exhaustive, research and, getting thousands of emails and trying to figure out where they're at. Having said that, it's pretty embarrassing, the findings, and I think the troublesome thing for me is how many times that Senator Clinton, Secretary of State Clinton, now candidate Clinton, said, one thing and it turns out to be something else. I mean, there's like 4 or 5 blatant, outright lies throughout this whole experience of this server, from classified information that this was allowed by the State Department, or she turned out over all her emails, and it's just very disappointing. I guess the other thing, what Director Comey said was that this is not abnormal for the law enforcement to talk with the Department of Justice, or I would think like a policeman in St. Louis talking with the prosecuting attorney,
right,
and trying to figure out, is there enough information to pursue a criminal case. That's kind of new to me too. I thought they were. I didn't know they talked a lot, and I do know prosecutors have to determine intent and was there really deceit involved. And so, I'll just let it stand for what Comey has said, and let the voters then put this in the cookie jar with all the other problems that I think the Clintons have in having a problem in telling the truth.
Well, and the bottom line is somebody called in earlier and suggested whether or not she would even be able to get a security clearance herself,
right.
But she's going to be president potentially.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I would use that one. Yeah. It would be difficult, although I do know that when we get elected to Congress, we automatically get one.
Right.
We've got to swear that we won't divulge that information when we go on some secret presentations. But there are a few members who won't sign that, and so they don't get access to all that information.
So, do you think you would get off as easily if you had just used your own private email and shared some of this information that that you signed an oath saying that you wouldn't disclose?
No, I don't think I would, and nor would most Americans. Something other than, oh, my bad, there was no real intent, see you later.
It definitely smells of a double standard to me when you look at it. There's just hard to get around that. Well,
and I maybe I'm just getting, worn out mildly. I think there's always going to be double standards in our society, and it's unfortunate. But you look at the way the Clintons have been handled, and I think you can easily say that they've been able to get away with a lot more than the average person would be able to get.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. We're talking to Congressman John Shimkus from Illinois. Congressman, what are you hearing about? The media has made a big deal about Speaker Ryan allowing a vote on a gun bill of some sort. I think you and I talked about this a couple weeks ago. Is this similar to the Cornyn legislation that we saw in the Senate?
I think it's exactly the Cornyn legislation. I think it's going to be tied into this counterterrorism bill that we had planned. So it does, fit in there because this is a debate about the, Homeland Security and the terror watch list. Now, we know that list is not perfect and that there have been many people on that list who are there wrong. I mean, they're not terrorists. They're elected officials. They're members of Congress. So, we've always said there's got to be some due process. There's got to be a way, if you find your name on that list, that you can raise, the point of order saying, hey, I'm on here fraudulently and I shouldn't be on this list. And so that's kind of what Cornyn is doing. I think there's a 3-day period where, then if the person then makes an expedited appeal to get off that list and they're still allowed to exercise their Second Amendment rights. And if they're not, then law enforcement will get information on a possible terrorist. So I think this is a good middle ground, and hopefully we'll get a chance to get this behind us come this week.
So I guess the question is, can the Democrats prevent it from coming to a vote, or is there a chance are there the votes in the House to pass it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there will be. I'm not sure the scuttlebutt first of all, Democrats won't support it. There'll be a few.
Yeah, there may be a few.
Who are from the rural areas and are strong Second Amendment supporters, but the vast majority will not. We'll probably lose maybe a couple moderates who are from metropolitan areas who will not support it. I think the big question is when you phrase it, can they block it? The question is, are they gonna take over the floor and break the rules of the House and shut things down, and are we going to drag them off the floor and move legislation? I think, we really allowed them to disrupt last week. Last week we were here, but the question is, are we going to allow them to do that every day now for the final 2 weeks before we go on the convention breaks and the district work period and all those periods of times? And I don't know what that answer is.
All right. Well, I know you got to come home and spend the 4th of July holiday back here in your district. What's your reaction to the fact that Governor Rauner finally got some sort of compromise bill through the House there in the state of Illinois?
Well, I think it's breathing a sigh of relief. I think it's a partial victory. There is some, obviously, no new taxes. There's some spending reductions. I think they have to then go. The big thing in Illinois is the legacy costs, which are pension and health care benefits and Medicaid. And I think there's a provision where January they have to relook at those provisions to try to bring pension legislation before the House, which, is always going to be challenging in the state of Illinois. Mm-hmm. But it does bring some there's a lot of uncertainty, and uncertainty has risk. We got schools getting ready to start. I had some smaller universities that were really struggling, and so I'm glad there was some part of a compromise.
Yeah, I think Governor Rauner's on the right track, but I'm not quite sure how he turns things around with the folks they've got in charge of the House and Senate in Illinois.
Well, the message that's got to be continued to set is that our Speaker of the House in Illinois, Mike Madigan's been there 37 years.
Yeah.
So we have really been driven into a ditch. Now we elect a Republican governor to help get us out of the ditch, and he's when they put the hook to the bumper, there's some pain in that process, but we want Illinois fixed so that we can compete for jobs and grow again. I mean, we're a stagnant economy, and big government is not assisting that, and I've got to applaud the governor for giving it a try. Yeah,
that's the truth. Congressman John Shimkus, hey, thanks for making yourself available on short notice. We appreciate it.
Happy to do it, Mark. Take care.
You take care. Thank you very much. I just called him up this morning, tried to get him on to talk about this gun bill, and I'm glad we were able to get that accomplished. So Congressman Shimkus there from the 15th District over in the great state of Illinois, or the People's Republic, however you want to look at it. So there. At least they're going to fund their schools this year. Tony Colombo is in the house. We got our Twitter poll up for tomorrow already, huh?
Yeah.
A little bit of reaction to that, you think?
Oh, baby. The Twitter poll is on fire. It is on fire. And And it's a landslide.
It's a landslide. Yes, it is. So basically, the question is, do you think justice was served in the Hillary Clinton email situation?
At Tony Colombo 971, at Tony Colombo 971, at Marc Cox 971 on Twitter. You go either one of those places and you can vote. Question is, despite evidence Hillary was, quote, extremely careless, FBI recommends no charges. Was justice served? Yeah. Yes or no? Pretty simple.
Uh-huh.
Yes or no? And there's a lot of votes.
There's a lot of votes.
And they're almost all one way. Go on though. That shouldn't stop you from voting. We want this to be let's speak your mind and show everybody how much of a landslide this is. Vote, vote, vote. Please.
It left a sick feeling in my stomach this morning. Can I just tell you that? When he had me all built up, telling me all these bad things and all the 110 classified emails, and then he let me down right at the end.
You can watch the whole thing, and if you were to just cut maybe 15 seconds out of it, you would think for sure
she'd been indicted.
That she'd been indicted.
Recommendation for
you
indictment.
You just got to
anyway.
cut out that one little part, and you'd think, oh my gosh, she's done so many things wrong.
Oh my! So what do you got on the DGS? Lots of post-fourth fun.
Oh, my gosh. So Dave's got some incredible stories from the holiday weekend. Of course, we'll do more talk about Hillary Clinton in this situation. Frank Cusimano is going to come on and talk some sports with us. So got a lot of stuff coming up on the Dave Glover Show.
Good stuff. That's Tony Colombo. Check out Tony Colombo 971. Vote in the Twitter poll. We'll see you tomorrow, noon to 3.
Happy birthday, Mark.